came out to India, and it was a massive experience for me, a wonderful experience for me. I learned a lot about the world and about people, and I fell in love with India, I guess, and I've been coming ever since. Now, it was more than just falling in love with India, and I do love coming to India. I come most years since then I've been able to come, so that's 28 years ago, is it 38 years ago, a long time ago. So I've been coming to India for all that period, every year or two. So I fell in love with India, but it was more important because it's what really made me an internationalist. I was predisposed to getting on with people from different parts of the world, but I hadn't really had the experience. So that was my first really big experience of working and being close to people from overseas. We had a lot of people from other countries in Cambridge and then at Sussex University, so it's not that I didn't know people. Now, I've been very fortunate. I met a lot of really, really able scientists at that period. I began to come to others. You know, I came here to Bombay about a year or two later to visit BARC, the Bombay Atomic Research Centre. I visited, while I was at Varanasi, I visited the defence labs in Hyderabad. A couple of years later, visited the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. So the places I know best are Varanasi, but more since then, Bombay and Bangalore. But I spent also quite a bit of time in Chennai, in Pune, and a number of other Indian cities. So I've had a great time in India. I love coming to India. I was very, very privileged to receive a distinguished visiting professorship when the IISc had its centenary about 7 years ago. We have enormous numbers of materials. Whenever we've had a need to have improved materials, material scientists have found new materials quite quickly, actually, as long as you put enough funds in to do the research. So to give an example, when we needed to have solar energy, we found solar energy materials which would convert the sun's rays into energy. At first they were not very efficient. Now they're more efficient. They will become more efficient still. There will be enormous development because we keep finding new materials. When we had superconductors, which are very important for things like the MRI scanners that I worked on at GE, at first they only operated at extremely low temperatures and with poor efficiency. Now they're much better. In the future they'll be better again. I'm absolutely sure. People said we've reached the limit. Then they found a new set of materials and they changed the limit. The same thing happened with semiconductors. They said, you know, we had silicon at first, and they said, well, silicon works pretty well for a lot of things, but it's not quite as fast and as adaptable. Then they found gallium arsenide. So we keep finding new materials for all these different functions. How many materials do you think there are? There's 10 to the 100 materials. There's a Google of materials. Google is named after the Google, which is 10 to the 100. 10 to the 100. How many atoms are there in the universe? 10 to the 66. There's more materials we could make than there are atoms in the universe. This is a fantastic piece of information. That's why we keep finding new materials. We have looked only at we've only scratched the surface of the materials. We're very conservative. We find a material like steel and we change its composition a little bit and we get a lot of good material. Big multinationals can run things. Of course, now we have Google, we have Microsoft and so on. So there's a lot of big companies. But they mature quite quickly, you know. And once they mature, so they often start very innovative. Take Google. It was an incredibly innovative way of making search. And then now it's a big company, and it's run by people who do finance, and it's not run by innovative scientists anymore. GE, when I worked there, was quite a conservative company. Rolls-Royce, when I consulted with them, was quite conservative. They had to be because they were mature industries where a lot of the technology had been developed. So that's important. When you we have a lot of we rely on these mature industries. We rely on telecommunication companies like BT BT or the old Bell company and so on. SMEs are fantastically important. That's where the new ideas come from. Now it's a bit of a problem because you can set up, I've set up a lot of SMEs. You can set up 100 SMEs and maybe only one or two will in the end be very successful. So you have to accept that innovation is difficult. You can have a lot of ideas and they may be great scientific ideas, but when it comes to applying them and you've got to be commercially successful, it's quite difficult. The reason I became an applied scientist was at first because I enjoyed linking the science to the application. The application in a scientific, the application in a technical sense, but I also enjoyed the application in a financial sense. So you have to make the finances work. You have to work out how, you have to do the marketing, and all these other things are interesting. But it's hard. So innovation, there's lots of innovative companies, and most innovative companies don't end up like Google or like GE or big companies like that. India has masses of people, very full of ideas, very talented, very able, often quite chaotic, but that's good. You want that for a dynamic economy. So the SMEs in India are really a great strength. The danger is that you have a government which doesn't allow them to grow and develop. I think you've had quite a good governments in India in the last 10 or 15 years, and so the Indian economy has grown quite well. It's not easy in government, don't get me wrong. I'm not criticising the Indian government or giving plaudits. It's very hard to get those conditions right, but India has done pretty well and forged ahead enormously in the last 10 or 15 years. But the SMEs are a great strength. The population is a great strength, people are a great strength. The biggest strength in the world is people. But you have to it's people's ideas that make things strong. I sometimes say you learn 3 things at a university. The first thing is you learn from your course. The second thing is you learn just as much from your friends by talking to them. I learned as much at Cambridge as a student from the history students and the economics students and the literature students who are my friends as I did in the science I was studying, because I learned about history, I learned about economics, I learned about art, I learned about theatre, things I didn't know about. What I tell everybody when they're graduating is I tell them one thing. I tell everybody at that graduation ceremony, you can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. Decide what you want to do. It's very hard. It took me a long time to work out what I could do and what I could do best. But you have to aim to do something worth doing. I've had a successful career. I wish I'd aimed higher when I was younger and I might have achieved more. But aim to do something really good and just work like crazy and go for it. That's what I tell everybody.